Let's move now to Germany, where the city of Frankfurt has decided we don't need no Roger Waters. The former frontman of the rock group Pink Floyd was supposed to perform there on May 18th, but his concert in a municipally owned hall was canceled by the local government because of what it called his, quote, persistent anti-Israel behavior that made him, again, quote, one of the most widely known anti-Semites in the world. Frankfurt cited Waters' calls for a cultural boycott of Israel and pressuring other artists not to perform there. His comparisons of Israel to the apartheid regime in South Africa, and the prop balloon in the shape of a pig with images of the Star of David that he used in his live tour of Pink Floyd's album, The Wall. Now, Waters is scheduled to perform in several other German cities this spring, and pro-Israel activists are campaigning to get those canceled as well. Well, for more, let's go to our Germany correspondent, Polina Garayev in Berlin. And Polina, we should start by noting Roger Waters, a controversial figure in Germany on another issue completely, which is his views on the Ukraine war.
Of course, he was lately made headlines regarding Ukraine, showing support for Russia, justifying the invasion in Ukraine. But here we're seeing him being disinvited, at least in the city of Frankfurt, over his views on the Israeli policy towards Palestinians. He's been a vocal supporter of the BDS movement, something that already landed him in hot water in the past, and specifically in the city of Frankfurt, that is in the recent years adopted several pro-Israeli and anti-BDS policies that were able to force organizers to cancel his planned show in May because, as you mentioned, the intended venue is municipally owned. It's owned by the city of Frankfurt and the state of Hesse, where Frankfurt is located, which then allowed authorities to force the venue to cancel this show. But unfortunately, this is unlikely to happen in other German cities. There are in total 6 shows that are planned for the month of May in cities like Berlin, Munich, Hamburg, and Cologne. And there, unless indeed those venues will be state-owned as well, which is not the case at the moment, we're talking about private venues, there'll be little that the authorities could do to stop him from taking the stage, despite the campaigning that is currently going on.
Right. Well, let's talk about how this news out of Frankfurt was received, because BDS certainly has its advocates in Germany, and Roger Waters, his fan. We should note he has said that his show, This Is Not a Drill, is almost like a political event. He does address political issues. Are we likely to see protests over some of those other shows in Germany, either for or against?
Well, the designation of the BDS movement as an anti-Semitic movement, something that the city of Frankfurt has adopted, and we already see, so we saw the city about 6 years ago ban the BDS movement and deny it any public funds or public venues to any events that endorse and promote the BDS movement. We also saw about 5 years ago, city authorities announced publicly that all artists that support the BDS movement are not invited to the city. So in Frankfurt, at least, there's no ambiguity in terms of where they stand regarding the BDS movement. In other cities, it is not that clear. So while some, of course, would see this movement as one that is a peaceful movement, one is protecting the rights of Palestinians, others, of course, see it as an anti-Semitic movement. It is likely that we're going to see this discussion about the nature and the validity, if one can say, of such claims play out in the press in the weeks leading up to those shows. There's also, it's likely, and it happened in the past, there are going to be small pro-Israeli demonstrations outside the venues hosting Roger Waters. But this is not necessarily something that is going to lead to the cancellation of the events or in any way affect the nature.
Right. I just want to make clear for for viewers who may not know, Roger Waters, although he still performs Pink Floyd music, he is broken up with the group. And recently, actually, the wife of his other co-leader of that band, David Gilmour, a writer named Polly Sampson, came out to publicly called him an anti-Semite, an avowed anti-Semite. So even within those people that he was associated with in Pink Floyd have come out and criticized his views about Israel, including expressing support for Hamas, for example, not just criticizing Israel. We should make a point of that. Polina Garayev there in Berlin. Thank you for that report.